At Direct Service Overhead, we know how much trust you put in the individuals who have the privilege of working on the components of your home. We understand that a broken garage door is the last thing you want to be worried about, and most of the time, doors break at the most inconvenient times. Our professionally trained technicians service 24 hours a day, and our high-cycle parts are guaranteed to make a noticeable impact on your garage door without putting a damper on your wallet. If you're looking for need of assistance maintaining your current garage door, our team has the experience and expertise to deliver the results you deserve. Give Direct Service Overhead a call today or visit us online to learn more.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Woo. Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans and the SEC fans and maybe the 2 Georgia Southern fans out there? Welcome to the one and only Big Trail Network YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys have had a wonderful week. It's not, look, I know it's not Friday. This week has been nuts. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It has been absolutely nuts. And to think I actually had to cancel something today, and today's been crazy. The whole week's been crazy. You guys can relate. I know you can. Let me, let's get of course, our awesome, amazing sponsors. Shout out to them. Direct Service Overhead. And, They operate, you guys know by now, a lot of you, they operate in Central Arkansas and in Northwest Arkansas. They'll replace and or repair your garage door. You can visit their website for any other questions because, I can't answer all your questions. This is what's unique about advertising here because your logo there, you've got me. I'm showing off their commercials, their ads, which I think are really well done, actually. And we just sit here and I could talk about them, and then you guys can ask questions. I can't answer them, but you can at least ask questions. I think that's what's really cool about advertising on YouTube. This is something a little bit different, and I have had people ask me, why are you doing local advertisements versus the YouTube? Which, by the way, if you're watching this after the fact, you're going to get those ads, right? But, we got to keep the lights on in here somehow. That's why we do Patreon, the PayPal link, and all that. I want to keep doing these for you guys. I really enjoy doing them. But anyways, shout out to them. Direct Service Overhead, Travis Ford. They get it done. And so that link to their website is located down below in the description box. Again, if you guys need any repairs, I might actually be hitting these guys up. My garage door needs some work. It's got some damage, so I'm probably going to be reaching out to Travis sometime next week if he's not already watching this. So shout out to him and his guys. Also, the newest sponsor as of the post game, the Texas game, Stated Apparel. These guys sell the softest t-shirts in the world. They're made right here in the state of Arkansas. You can check out their entire inventory over at Stated Apparel. I have a link for them as well. They have a Pig Trail Network part of their menu. It's really cool. It's pretty snazzy. So yeah, you can, if you're in the Benton Bryant area down in Central Arkansas, you can check out their store in downtown Benton, and you can see their merch, what they have going on inside their store. So yeah, they also sell other clothing brands as well, Native and Southern Marsh. So again, all those links are provided for you down below in the description box. So this is Friday's show, by the way. It's Thursday, but it is Friday's show. Friday shows to me are the most exciting. Probably not going to go the full hour today. Again, I've still got to go. I really wanted to do this earlier, but because of another meeting that I had right around lunchtime, I couldn't do the show. I was just going to put it in at the 11 o'clock time, which is what our Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows are. But since we postponed tomorrow's show, or moved it ahead to today, rather, because of everything I've got going on, 1:30 was the quickest I could do. So because of that, we're a little short on time today. But Georgia Southern is a very interesting matchup for the Razorbacks. So let me first, you guys know how I do. I'm going to read chat, and then we'll get going here. We'll start breaking down. Do me a favor too. Like. Hit the like button. Whose wrestling power move have we not used to have you guys smash the like button? We've already done the Diamond Cutter and the Stone Cold. The Stunner. We've already done those. Tombstone Pile Drive. We've done that. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. What was Triple H's move? I know I've got some wrestling buffs in the chat. Give me some ideas, huh? I actually got the notification, says Flying Blind. That's great. Got the notification, says Ricky. I love hearing that. And I noticed, too, as soon as I went live, it was like within minutes, people were piling in here. What's up, Ty? Good afternoon. Thanks, Hoyt. I appreciate that. Also, shout out to all the new Discord peeps. Shout out to them. In fact, let me, I did not. I've been pretty good about copy and pasting the link to the, in Discord. I didn't do that just now, so let me do that really quick. Everyone, are you sure you want to send this to everyone? There's over 200 people in here. In fact, we're creeping up on what, 300 people. So there you go. For those of you in Discord, did we have anything crazy happen in Discord today? I try to read from there too. I did not catch Paul Feinbaum, or I didn't catch Paul Feinbaum's show today, but I guess they had, was that yesterday or today? They had Sam Pittman on. That had to be yesterday, right? Scrolling up, I'm not seeing Torrid Hog fan joined our Discord. See, and that's the other thing I wish Discord would do is show me the newest members so I can just go down the line here, but you can't. You got to scroll up and kind of see. There were several. We've had a lot of people join Discord in the last week and a half or so. We had last year, we had a couple of Mizzou fans. I don't know if you guys remember that, some of you OGs. But anyways, join our Discord. Let me get that link for you really quick in case you guys, again, it's free, easy to operate. You just open it up. I mean, you can do it on your phone. You can download the app. I get a lot of people that are like, yeah, but I don't want to pay for another streaming service. It's not a streaming service. Let me paste that. Was it 240? Okay, I counted. I that's pretty good. 240 is good. I thought for some reason we were over I thought I counted more than that. There you go. The pedigree. That's what it was. That's right. Triple H was the pedigree. There you go. Holy crap, it's Thursday. I've been thinking you were doing it. So early. Yeah, right. I know. Austin's calling me out. It's at 240 actually, Ty. And see, this is the other thing. They don't give you, like, you have to count 24 and then you scroll down and then the offline amount of number, the offline. Dude, there's 241 offline right now and 24 online. So that's 200 and, I mean, do the math. That's 265. And at the rate we're growing, we're going to be at 300 soon enough. There you go. Thank you, Kelly Marie. 260. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. It was offline. Trying to throw me under the bus, Austin. I see what you're doing. You're going to make my shit list, my man. I'm kidding. All right. Yeah, share the content if you guys haven't already. Subscribe for all the new subscribers. Welcome. Patreon supporters, as always. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I really do. Everyone being here and being a part of this. It's great. I don't like messing up my 11 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday routine. It's just this week, so hopefully next week's going to be nuts too. Listen, when you got 2 kids in softball and all this stuff going on, and I'm trying to, look, I mean, this is a small business that I'm running here, and that's what I'm in the process of getting done legally at the moment. It's actually who I had an appointment with today, and so this is a whole new world. So we're getting the ball rolling with this bad boy. Someone had DM'd me too, by the way. I wanted to find that. I was going to answer it, but I don't remember which DM it was, if it was Facebook, Discord, or Twitter. They had asked if I was going to sell shirts. I have thought about that. Not selling, probably giving away. Maybe going to a Razorback game, maybe going to a tailgate. If you guys are tailgating, hit me up. Maybe I can stop by. I want to get some shirts made. So I love the idea of doing that. I don't know, like, it gets a little costly, not going to lie. I would rather sell them for a little bit so I can recoup what it costs. You wouldn't believe how much it costs just to have them to ink or to press stuff on a shirt. You wouldn't believe, even with a shirt already, it makes me want to go buy, what's that thing called, a Cricut? You heard of those? The Cricut, like, you can kind of cut out whatever you want, whatever design you want. You can hook it up to your computer and then just buy the material to stick it on the shirt. I'd almost rather do that. Or you iron the whatever you want onto the t-shirt. Makes me want to do that, but then Crickets are like several $100s. All right, Georgia Southern. I don't know. Some of you might not be old enough to remember seeing the triple option back when it was pretty popular back in the 90s and early 2000s. Triple option is something else. I love the diversity that college football can have at times. I got to say, I don't think Arkansas is going to see the triple option at any other point this year. Man, I'm not saying you won't see it, but these guys, Georgia Southern, they want to run some option at you. And they'll run the ISO. They'll run it up the gut. They're more of a multiple offense than they are anything. I had where's my notepad? You got to be kidding me. I left it in the living room. I'm not getting up to go get it, because we're going to roll with it. I have some stuff here on the screen, though. If Arkansas wins this, it's going to be the first time you've started out 3-0 since 2016. And if you recall, that year it took a double overtime win against TCU to get there. And so eventually, obviously, the Hogs would win their first 3 games. So it's been a minute. Far too long. to start off 3-0. I think Arkansas's got, between them and Vanderbilt, maybe South Carolina have had something similar of that amount of time where they haven't started off 3-0. But that is that's ridiculous. Georgia Southern on defense, we'll kind of start there first. Up front, they're going to run mostly a 3-front. No, I did watch. I've actually got their FAU game up. I've had it up all week, and I've been watching like maybe a couple of drives every once in a while. I'm able to sit down and do that. I've been watching some stuff on my phone. They don't pitch it as much as I thought. Man, I'm really hating that I don't have my notebook because I've got Sam Pittman's I took some cliff notes from when he talked to the media. But they don't pitch it as much, and I think he talked about that. No, I didn't watch their first game. I don't even know if you have access to their first game. Not that I really looked that hard. I really wanted to watch what they did against FAU. But they don't pitch it as much as you would think in the triple option. But they're going to try and confuse the defense. They want to catch you off guard. They want to catch someone out of place. And Arkansas's linebackers, they're just so disciplined. And I got to be honest with you too. You guys know how I felt about the linebacker coach a year ago, Rand Johnson, who I thought did an excellent job. I really thought that Rhodes. Sorry, God, Rhodes. Coach Rhodes. I thought he did a great job with the linebackers last year. Thought we'd see a little bit of a drop off. I thought we would see a little bit of a drop off, and in fact, they're even better. You've already had Grant Morgan get some national attention. Hayden Henry, look at the level he's playing at. Maybe it was Michael Schur the whole time. I don't know. Maybe it's probably has something to do with having one of the best defensive coordinators in the game and Odom. But the linebackers so far this year have outperformed what I thought they could do. Now, I had high expectations for this linebacking core. I really did. I even though, when you consider who you had last year, you got them both. You got these guys back. You had, you've got Henry back. Parker, who's been in the system now for a couple of years. He's a redshirt junior? He's a junior one way or another. He's been around it for a minute. You feel a little bit better about depth coming into the year, but now going into Georgia Southern, getting ready for Texas A&M, I feel really comfortable about what's going on at linebacker. Now, remember, you lost Marco Avant, a guy who I thought, based on the quality of depth that Arkansas has lacked at that position, it wouldn't have shocked me to see him battle his way into possibly the 2 deep. I really like Marco Avant. And again, no disrespect to Marco, but that's speaking more to the lack of quality of depth at linebacker versus Marco Avant's talent. But I do think Marco Avant is somebody, who could very well make his way into the 2 deep. And I think that's going to be a possibility next year. And they also have, I was talking to someone yesterday, you've got Chris Paul and Jackson Woodard also in there. I don't, Woodard did Woodard get hit with that targeting call, or am I crazy? Did they miss that, or did they get Woodard on that targeting? Remember at the end of the game, he came smashing down. I cannot remember for the life of me. That whole play is blank. But he's pretty aggressive, and I've actually heard that before, that he's a pretty aggressive player, and that's something that's obvious this defense loves to have. That's why I think you've racked up these targeting penalties. But so I've been wrong about Michael Schur, and I'll admit that right here. I'll admit it. So far, the linebackers have been phenomenal. But at the same time, it's like, look at the guys you have to work with. This is arguably, I think you could make the argument that this is probably one of the top 2, top 3 starting linebacking units in the SEC. They're the engine that makes this whole thing go. And it's like they've got a big V8, they've got a big ass V8 motor in that pickup. Or it's a dually. I don't know. Those linebackers are monsters. You still worry if Hayden Henry gets a little banged up, and Bumper Pool, who's, if you've noticed in their depth chart that they released, I rarely go over that depth chart because it doesn't change much, but you do see Henry and Bumper Pool at 1 and 2. I don't know why we see that, but yet you see Bumper Pool on the field a little bit more. But Hayden Henry, actually, it seems like they're sharing time, or they're on the field at the same time. But again, the linebacking core has made this whole thing go. And, of course, you got guys like Fouché and Catalan. Fouché deserves a lot more respect than he's been given this year. Monteric Brown, I think, has been mostly a shutdown corner. In fact, through 2 games, the only guy that's really given up anything, Fouché got burned on I don't know what the hell route that was, but the quarterback overthrew the target twice. Fouché got burned on one of those. And then Ladarius Bishop got beat week 1 against Rice. He had his eyes in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he messed up. You know, this is really the first time he hasn't been switched. If you guys have kept up with his career as a Razorback, he gets moved. You know, he gets moved from one side to the field to another, and he just gets switched up a lot. And Sam Pittman talked about it coming into the Rice game, coming out of fall camp. He said, we just kept him there, and we just worked him there, and he ended up beating out Hudson Clark. Don't you feel good about what's going on in the secondary, though? You know, I mean, if they do lose Catalon this year, and I know we're kind of jumping out of lane here for a second, but if they do lose Catalon, we don't hear enough about Slusher because he's been banged up this year, and I think he got a little banged up towards the end of fall camp. Slusher, what little we've seen of him, that cat has balled out. Now, remember Catalon. What little we saw of Catalon, he balled out. I think the future's pretty bright at safety, right? You've had Fouché, who's been over there for a while. You're going to have someone take over after he leaves. Monteric Brown, you know, you might worry a little bit about what's going on maybe on one side of the field versus, you know, when you're talking about the DBs, but you've had Devin Bush, 4-star corner out of Louisiana. Is that right? Or was he? Yeah, he was Louisiana. You've had him fight his way from coming out of the transfer portal to, he's in the 2 deep. I expect him to play this week, by the way. I do. I think we're going to see Devin Bush finally on the field. I think he played – I want to say he played a little bit in the Texas game. So back to this though. Yeah, they're going to give you some looks on defense. They're going to come at you. They're going to try and dial up some pressure. Something that's important to point out. They played Gardner Webb in week 1. Gardner Webb had 427 yards, 365 of those through the air. Gardner Webb. I mean, and only 65 on the ground. Then week 2 against FAU, they gave up once again another 330 yards to FAU through the air and 196 on the ground. They're pretty aggressive on 4th down. They've gone for it 7 times through 2 games. They're 5 of 7 on 4th down. Again, they'll go pistol. They like to line up in the pistol. They're going to run the triple op. They'll line up 4 or 5 wide set. I mean, it's a multiple offense. God only knows what Arkansas is really going to see on Saturday. I feel like they've been prepping for the triple option, and maybe. I mean, you're going to see it. You're going to see the option, but it wouldn't shock me at all for them to come out and do something we just haven't seen on film. Now, I don't think they've been holding back because, I mean, I get that Arkansas is a big game for them, but so is FAU. When we're talking about Georgia Southern, FAU is a big game for them too. So I highly doubt that they've hidden a whole lot. Now, something else they're going to have to deal with this week. Before we get there, I want to talk about some guys on defense that stand out. Joe with we've had some super chat. Let me scroll. Austin says I fixed it. Okay. Grant Patrick, what's up, you idiots? Well, that's a way to introduce yourself, Grant. How you doing, man? Don't forget to share the content, too, on social media. That goes a very long ways. Listening and eating lunch, says Hoyt. Let me get to the super chat. Big man Ross for $10 for his shirt. All right, there you go. $5 super chat from Joe. Give that like button a French kiss. Score prediction: Arkansas 38, Georgia Southern 16. Yeah, and I'm going to give you guys my score prediction too. Sam Pittman has completely rebranded the entire program in less than 2 seasons. Unbelievable job. Hope USC doesn't want our pit bull. I don't think he would take the job. I really don't. What coach in their right mind would even want that job? I shouldn't say that. I know they're going to pay well, and they're going to be competitive, and they're USC, and their location. I get it where they're at. But it's also one of those jobs that's like they'll fire you in the first 2 games of the season. Yeah, I want to go there. I mean, I'm just saying. Cody Kennedy, dad gummit. Yeah, right? Exactly. The returning quarterback does pitch more than the recent starter. So The quarterback they're using this week, well, again, we're going to get to that in a second. So their pass defense is garbage. It's not good. They've given up, and I think they've given up 8 touchdowns through the air in 2 games. 41-17 is the Hogs. Give me your scores. I want your scores. For those of you who are not watching live, give me your scores also, and those of you in live chat, I want to see them. I mean, Pittman said that Arkansas would be his last coaching job. Yeah, but, I'm just one of those. I firmly believe that's probably going to be the case or could be the case. I just, I hear one thing and then, and look, and Pittman's, I think Pittman is someone who's going to keep true to his word. 42-10 says Kelly Marie. Word out A&M is Arkansas not good in passing what you think. Yeah, we're going to talk about Arkansas's offense here in a second. Hoyt Allen says 38-17. Grant Patrick, 56-10. Now, Arkansas, have you guys – I'm loving this so far, and I know it's just 2 weeks. Arkansas's points per game are 39 points, and that's after playing a top 20 ranked Texas Longhorn. So I hope they go above that. And we'll also talk about the spread here in just a second, too. A lot to get to. I said I would do this in 30 minutes. That ain't going to happen. Hey, Ty, is it possible we go 10-2 this year? I feel like it's a good possibility. I'm just not going that far ahead, Tanya. I'm just not doing it. Pittman's going to get a pretty good raise after the season. I hope. The hope is they give the entire staff a massive raise. They're going to have to do something to keep these guys. I'm telling you. They're going to have to offer up the big bucks. 59-13, Hogs, confident breakthrough game. Did you hear Sam Pittman? They talked about him. They talked about it earlier in the week about overlooking Georgia Southern. That's not going to happen. They were doing install during fall camp. They're doing install for Georgia Southern. They also talked about Cam Little in this last, when he talked to the media yesterday. He said that Sam Little, or his Little's leg, Cam Little's leg has gotten better. He said, "Did you see him in spring? Look at him now." And now, to be fair, one of his kicks did have to hit the uprights. Arkansas 35, Georgia Southern 14. Spencer Cole says 35-17. Would you guys how would you feel about that kind of score? 35-14. I predicted last week 45-17 Hogs over Texas. This week I predict 48-10. Leslie's like, look, I know what's up. What was your Rice prediction, Leslie? Or do you want to tell us that, Leslie? Because I want to know. Red Hog 1 Arky 42-14. Okay. Tanya says 56-10. Leslie says, and if I'm not mistaken, someone told me they saw Georgia Southern bus at the Bottoms Up. Only Fayetteville folks know about Bottoms Up. Oh, my goodness. I haven't I've never been there. Truthfully, I've never been. But, yeah, it's for those of you who've never been to Fayetteville, is that place even still open? Have they not been hit with like a health code violation? Listen, when I was growing up, all they had was the place. So you had the 2 places next to the bowling alley on 71 Business. You had there was another adult. Of course, you had Bottoms Up, and then they had another place called Diamonds. Bottoms Up, thumbs down. Don't think USC is a thing. He just did buy or upgrade another home in Arkansas. Yeah, so Will Watkins, I don't know if he's in chat. He said that Sam Pittman had already bought some land here. I don't know if that was – I think he had purchased that land back when he was the offensive line coach here. But I had heard that too, that he was making room, like he's fully invested in NWA. But we also know that doesn't mean everything. They can still keep property here, and with whatever they're getting paid elsewhere, go live elsewhere. I mean, so I really think if we can get past A&M, we will go 10-2 this season. Yeah, I'm taking it a game at a time because in truth, we don't really know how good or bad Texas is. We just really don't. What I saw on film, and I watched that game again, they look terrible. And honestly, they look the same for the most part on offense, and they look pretty similar on defense against Louisiana. This Texas Rice game might actually be pretty competitive. He bought land at Lake Hamilton. That's what it was, to retire when they were at Georgia. Okay. And see, he bought land too when he was offensive line coach here. You remember that? He talked about how much he loved it here. And I think that's why he wanted to come back when that offer was made out. I'm wanting Browse to air it out. This could be the game to do it, Flying Blind. It really could. Woo Pig Dustino, what's up, man? People seem to forget Texas actually has studs on defense. They do. And a well-renowned defensive coordinator. Our offense smoking them is impressive. So I'm not saying it wasn't impressive. But Texas, but you have to, there's something that, and I know you know this. There's the eye test, right? And they just haven't passed it for me for 2 weeks that I've seen them play. They don't look that good. Now, again, you could give Arkansas credit for some of that, and I agree, even for a lot of it. But they just, and I think a lot of it goes back to the quarterback. Hudson Card was just, he was overwhelmed. There's no doubt about it. And who knows, maybe they finish out the year with 10-2, with their only losses being to Oklahoma and Arkansas, or 11-1. Or they could go 6-6. I would probably, if I had to guess, I think they're gonna be bowl eligible. But beyond that, I don't know. Even Georgia fans will tell you Arkansas is number one. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so their defense. Some names to look out for. Justin Birdsong. This is a guy who was a corner last year for them, and they switched him. I don't know that he saw the field much in 2020. I actually did not look at his previous. No, he did. He did. Pretty sure. But he moved from corner to safety. I want to say it was either last year or this year. But 5'11", 190-pound defensive back. He had 10 tackles and a pass breakup last week. They also have Derek Canteen, who was a freshman All-American a year ago. He doesn't show up a lot on the stat sheet, but from what I've seen, he doesn't. Quarterbacks tend to try and avoid throwing to him, although FAU, both these offenses have had a lot of success against Birdsong and Derek Canteen. So, but just something to keep an eye out for. CJ Wright up front on the defensive line. He's a little undersized. He's somewhere between like 6 foot, 6'1", about 285, 290. But he's already got 3 sacks this year through their first 2 games. So those are some names to keep an eye out for. Again, their defense, they're going to give you kind of a 3-4, what you would call 3-4, maybe an over-under, kind of multiple looks on defense. They did manage to get some pressure on FAU a little bit, especially in that opening quarter. But, I mean, both these offenses racked up 400-plus yards of offense, which in this day and age, 400 is the new 300. I can remember back in the DMAC, in the Houston Nutt era, it's like if you racked up 350 yards of offense, you're doing all right. And then if you're at 400, you're a really good offense. Anything beyond that, you're great. Nowadays, it's like 400 is kind of the standard. But they've given up. I mean, to Gardner Webb, they gave up 427 yards. So their defense struggling. Now, their offense, switching over to what they do have a new quarterback this week who's been on academic probation. And that quarterback, of course, I have it on my phone here. I have all my notes here also on my phone. You guys, I have notes. I have my notepad on my computer. I take notes on my phone, notes on the notebook, on paper, pen and paper. But Justin Tomlin is the guy that should be starting this week, along with starting running back Logan Wright. I think you're going to see a mix of a couple of backs for Georgia Southern. But what is fascinating about these guys is they have kind of a mix in their running backs. When you look at Logan Wright, pull up his actual size here. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's about 6 foot, 6'1", 235 pounds. And he can move pretty well with that frame. He's got 206 yards on the year. He's averaging 7 yards a carry. Some of that is obviously, I mean, just by the design of this offense. But he's someone who can run north-south and a little bit east-west. I mean, he's pretty elusive. He's out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's number 2 for them. Keep an eye on Logan, on this guy. I mean, he really is capable of doing something special for them. But again, this year he's at 30 carries, 206 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Again, he's just south of 7 yards. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's someone definitely worth keeping an eye on. They've also got – now, I also don't know the health of all these guys. So some of these I'm mentioning, they may not play this week, but as far as I know, they came out of the FAU game in pretty good shape. Amar Jones is another guy, 28 carries, 119 yards on the year. He's averaging just north of 4 yards. And then they have Gerald Green, who's averaging 6.1 yards on 12 carries. He's also the leading receiver on this team, 7 catches for 71 yards. His longest reception from the line of scrimmage is 16 yards, so he averages just roughly 10 yards per reception. Caleb Hood's their starting tight end. He's their second leading receiver with 3 catches, 39 yards. They've got 1 passing touchdown all year and only 3 rushing touchdowns as I'm looking at it. Again, they're 1-1 out of the Sun Belt. But they've got, again, they're going to show you some things. They've got, Sam Pittman said they had 5 of their 5 up front back. I looked at it and it was 4 or 5, but I think maybe their left tackle cycled in last year, so maybe that's what he's going to know more than I do. I'm sure they've watched all the film. But yeah, again, their offense, they're going to operate a lot out of the pistol, but they're going to spread you out. They're going to 3-4, probably going to see some 5 wide sets. As the game got out of hand against FAU, against FAU, they definitely went a lot more 5 wide, and they're not afraid to sling it. So now you're going to get this guy back at quarterback for them, again, who is on a 2-game suspension, and he's capable, and he's an athlete. Tomlin is an athlete. So this is going to be something with this year's offense. I don't think they have any film. I think again, he's been on a 2-game suspension. So he talked about, and I thought this was interesting too, it just kind of popped in my head. They talked about preparing for this offense and what they did this week. They used a couple of different guys to kind of simulate what they do, and I think he talked about using Malik Hornsby in the option. So, and they were doing a mix of 1s and 2s this week. So Coley and Renfro and those guys were all kind of trying to simulate what they're going to do on offense. This is one of those games like you just cannot afford to overlook, and it's not simply because it's Georgia Southern. It's because you don't see this offense very often. You don't prep for this kind of offense very often. In fact, this is the first time can anyone tell me the last time Arkansas played a team that ran the triple option? I truly don't remember. It's been a minute. So this is and I love the diversity in offense. I wish we'd see more of it. Hell, why don't more teams run the wishbone? Right? And when Bielema came here to run out of the eye, that was kind of considered against the grain. What are you talking about? Everyone goes no huddle like a high tempo RPO. What's this? You're trying to eat the clock up and run out of the offset I formation? You're using a tight end to block and a fullback? What the hell is this? And you're talking about 2013. Now it's even more rare, and the triple option is rare. No one runs the wishbone, and at least none of the more prominent teams. And there's very few teams that even run the air raid. Georgia Southern's like a mixed bag of all of that. So this is incredibly tough to prep for. I cannot imagine how the hell you prepare for these guys. Having saying that, their offense has been stale. We'll see if this new guy at quarterback gets them going on offense. And of course, it seems like this is just something that Arkansas is used to seeing. I think they're actually getting another guy back too, healthy out of the backfield. I think they had a running back that had been banged up, but actually, it's probably who I was just mentioning. But they're getting healthier. They're getting him back, starting quarterback. So they're in pretty good shape. I mean, they really are. I think they're in good shape to at least come into Fayetteville and try to take the crowd out. You can't imagine there's going to be a lot of people at this game. I'm not even going to guess the attendance. I have no idea what it's going to look like. What's the weather like? Do we know? Do we know what the weather's going to look like? What's the weather going to look like on Saturday? Right now, so again, it is Thursday. High 80s all day, low of 64, so that would obviously be when the sun goes down. So it's not going to be anything like Texas, like 90. What was it at kickoff? 92. But, yeah. Hopefully could pull some defensive starters after the first half so we don't lose anything. Yeah. And that's something they're going to have to keep in mind. Like, do we really want to – I mean, at the rate that they call targeting now, against Texas, I thought they were actually pretty conservative. They're so inconsistent with targeting calls. They are so wildly inconsistent. But that's something to consider. Do we want to just open this thing up in the first half rack up 34, 35 points, shut them out on offense, and then let Malik Hornsby come out at quarterback, give the crowd what they want to see. I mean, you want to keep him healthy too, but maybe we get to see some Renfro and we get to see some of these other quarterbacks. We get to see, I mean, you've seen all the running backs. I really don't know who else they have to run. Maybe we get to see more A.J. Green and Raheem Sanders in the second half, although you want to keep them healthy too, but get to see some of the younger players on defense, and that's pivotal. That's huge to get these guys, these backups, these 2s and 3s, an opportunity to play, to be out on the field. Fans need to show up for every game, says Kelly. They do, but, I mean, realistically, that's just the case anywhere in college football. I mean, when you have a kind of so-so opponent, people just are less likely to go to a game, especially when hunting season. I mean, there's still schools in Arkansas that – pretty sure there's still schools in Arkansas that let out for the opening day of hunting season. I mean, just sometimes, I agree. Fans should go to the game if you got a ticket. We must have had Big 12 refs. They hate Texas. I would like to see Trey Knox getting some passing yards from tight end this week. That'd be really cool to see. I agree with that. I don't know, Justin. You deleted your comment. I don't know what you said though, bruh. Woo Pig Dustino says if you only judged off the Arkansas game last year, you would assume Ole Miss had a bad offense too. I mean, true, but Texas played Louisiana. I don't know if you watched that game or not, but Louisiana looked terrible and Texas didn't look a whole lot better. I mean, again, there's something called the eye test. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Texas is really good. I'm telling you from what I've seen, all the film that I've watched on Texas through 2 weeks, they don't pass the eye test as a very good team. They don't look to me like someone who's going to – and they do play in the Big 12. That's the good news for them. The Big 12 is a joke. I mean, I think you could really come in and play 50%, at 50%, with your half of your, what you can use on the roster on the field and still look good against some of these Big 12 opponents. The Big 12 is just not a very good conference. It's just not. So that's kind of the thing. But, I think if Texas – I mean, honestly, if that Texas team that we saw was in the SEC West, what would their record be? What would their record be? I guarantee – I don't think I'd pick them to make a bowl game. So, and it is early, and I'll admit to that. It's early, but like I said, based on what I've seen through 2 games, they don't look very good to me. And I wasn't sure if Louisiana – okay, maybe Louisiana is a top 25 caliber team. Remember, we talked about that last week a lot. Are they really a top – like, I don't know. They look just – they were missing tackles left and right. I talked about that on Mark Rogers' show, how I just wasn't impressed with Louisiana. They were missing tackles, and Texas was missing tackles, and Louisiana had a couple of times they just messed up in coverage in their secondary. They just didn't look like the Louisiana from a year ago. Maybe they're overrated, and I think that was definitely the case. I'm not saying they're a bad team. Maybe Louisiana is actually great, and Texas is actually great, and then therefore Arkansas is great because they just smoked Texas. I don't know. I do believe, by the way, I've got Arkansas at 8-4, FYI. I've had them at 8-4 since the beginning of the season. So I'm not saying Arkansas is bad. I'm just saying that Texas game, I don't know how much it really told us. We just don't know. Now let's see. I don't even know if I want to, if they struggle against Rice, and I don't think they will. I think they want to come out and just smoke Rice. I really do think that. Texas in the SEC 1-7. It's exactly my point. Thank you. They were bad in that Arkansas game. They did not look good. Now, I also watched, again, I told you guys to watch someone on Twitter, and I already forgot his damn name. Arkansas executed. They just flat out smoked them up front. But like I said, I've still got them at 8-4. I think Arkansas is so much better than where they're at a year ago. I think they're vastly underrated. I think all these national pundits have had their heads up their asses when they talk about Arkansas. It's not until after they beat the shit out of Texas that they're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, Arkansas is legit now all of a sudden. Okay, yeah, where were you when, before the season? Where were you coming out of fall camp getting ready for week 1? Where were you guys at then? Huh? Where we at? Kirk Herbstreit, Paul Feinbaum. Although Feinbaum, to be fair, he did pick Arkansas over Texas. We want Bama. Says, I'm not going that far. I love the enthusiasm, though, right? 66-16. Big game from KJ, Burks, and Morris. Nope, Louisiana was bad. I mean, I agree. There's nothing I saw in that game that was like, damn, these are two really good teams, right? But again, that's week one. I always kind of shake week one off. Look at Arkansas. Oh my God, look at Arkansas. Look at the difference between week one to week two. It's insane. OU didn't look great against Tulane. No, they didn't look good week one. And again, it doesn't matter, though. Oklahoma's going to run. You know they're going to run it. You know they are. That conference is a joke, man. It's so bizarre to me. If you guys ever spend a little bit of time, next time, for those of you who are who don't live up here, if you have time, if you have a day to burn, go out to Siloam. They got out in Siloam Springs. They've got a casino. OU fans and Arkansas fans everywhere. And talk to them about how they feel with the Big 12. Now, maybe they're a little bit more down on the Big 12 since they're heading towards the SEC. But every one of them that I ever talked to, and you see a few Texas fans in there too, oh, Big 12 is underrated. Big 12 and their offense, blah, 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 blah. No, you get your ass whooped. Look what happened. Look, you lost. Iowa State lost. Texas got their rear ends handed to them. Thank you. Do you hate Texas or A&M more? I hate A&M more. I do. I'm not even going to hide it. I hate A&M. I hate A&M. Ty, who would you take between OU and Arkansas this year if they played OU? I'm just, again, right now, I know they struggled week one, but so did Arkansas. Arkansas beat. We don't know how good or bad Texas is. I love what I'm seeing execution-wise the last 6 quarters out of Arkansas. I'll tell you this much. I think it would be a closer game than a lot of people would pick it. I'll say that. All right, let's do the side-by-sides between these two teams really quick, and then we're going to call it. I told you guys I wasn't going to make it 30 minutes. What do you know about Anthony Brown? We talked about that yesterday. If he doesn't remind you of Curl, I don't know who else does. He's a pretty good athlete, good size body, big hands, makes plays, not afraid to stick his helmet in there, makes legally. I like I like the level that he plays at. I think he's considered roughly around a top 500 prospect. That was a good kid. That was a big pickup for Arkansas. I think it was really one of those underrated kind of pickups that I think teams are going to look back on, like Curl, and think, man, we should have had a legitimate committable offer on the table for him. I think there's several of those in this class. Okay. Arkansas right now favored, according to the ESPN FPI, at 96.8% over Georgia Southern. The over-under at 52.5. The spread is at 23.5 points. I'm going to tell you, I'm not picking Arkansas to win this by 24 simply because I could see the first team making an early exit maybe in the beginning of the fourth quarter if this thing gets out of hand. Not that they won't lead at one point by that much. I don't know that they end the game with that big of a lead or not. Right now, I'm not a fan. I always hesitate. I don't care who the matchups are. I don't care if it's number one versus the worst team in college football. I'm always hesitant at that big of a spread. I just am. 23.5, because if Arkansas gets a big enough lead, younger guys are going to come in, guys who maybe haven't had a whole lot of full contact. They haven't run with the ones, or they've only been on scout team, and they've barely worked with the threes. You see them come in the fourth quarter and they make mistakes. They hand the ball back over to Georgia Southern, or Georgia Southern finds a huge gap in the secondary, and they go that 5 wide. If they're trailing, by the way, they're probably likely to go with a 4 and 5 wide set. And maybe they find somebody and they burn you because you had a freshman out there on the field defending, or someone who hasn't played a lot, or someone coming back from injury. I just hesitate at 23.5. This to me has 50-20 written all over it, or 50 to, or well, somewhere. As you can tell, I don't have my score set. because I'm a day early. I usually do my scores on Friday, so I did not pick a score yet. But it feels like a 50-20 kind of game. But with Arkansas making mistakes, but their offense has not been very good. Their defense is really bad. This could get really out of hand. It wouldn't shock me if Arkansas gets out to like a 56-7 kind of lead, or 56-14, or 45, being a little bit more realistic, maybe like 35-0, 35-10, and then all of a sudden they sub out. They sub the 2s and 3s in, and then Georgia Southern starts to work their way up and down the field. I'm not thrilled about a 23.5 spread. So let me see your. Did I ask for your scores? I feel like I did. I'm gonna say, and I usually have them written down. I don't this time. Like I said, I'm a day early and a dollar short. I don't like the 23.5 spread. I really don't. Let's say Arkansas subs out heavy in the second half. You see guys like Devin Bush on the field, and Devin Bush is a great player, but there's something to be said about guys who haven't been in that rotation, haven't played a lot. I can't see Sam Pittman also is not the kind of guy that wants to, run up the score. He's not that kind of guy. They could absolutely, I think, if things go their way, if they play sound, if they keep Georgia Southern out in front of them, they don't take their minds off Georgia Southern, if they're preparing only for Georgia Southern, and if it's also to be believed that they did a lot of prep in the offseason for Georgia Southern, this could get out of hand and ugly. If they take their eye off the ball, even for just a half a quarter, Georgia Southern, they're pretty salty. Guys, look, last year these guys went 8-4 during the regular season. Or no, they went 7-5, and they ended up winning they won their bowl game, right? Is that what it was? Louisiana Tech. They won 38-3. They returned 15 starters from a year ago. And I don't know. This is like their Super Bowl. You know how this works. They look bad against Sun Belt opponents and non-P5 schools and FCS, whatever. But then they come in against the P5, a mighty SEC school, and to them, this is their Super Bowl. So I'm going to say Arkansas wins this. I'm going to spot them to 24. I'll give them 24 points. Arkansas 40-24. I'll take that. 40-24. I know that seems low. I just feel like they get out to this huge 33-7 kind of lead, and then they sub in their B squad, and they just really they're just ready to get to A&M. They want to get out of this game injury free. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. 40-24. I'll take that. All right. But again, if you're asking me about the spread, I'm not thrilled about a 23.5 point spread. I'm not thrilled about it. Let's see. 42-20 says Dylan Sharp. Okay. 28-9 says Lee. And again, this is a hard game to predict too, because it's this kind of team, this kind of offense. You just don't know what you're in for. I'm 25 minutes behind. Whoa, my score prediction is 52-13. And it could be that. It really could. Their defense does not look good. You talk about eye test, their defense looks terrible. Arkansas really could put again, if they play like if we're to believe that let's just say Texas is actually a top 25 or I'll even say top 30 caliber team. If Arkansas really is that good on offense, this thing could get really ugly really quick. I'll stand by 48-17. All right, I'm writing it down. Let me write down my score here. Type it down. See, I didn't have it typed up. 40 to what I say 24, 40-24, Arkansas. That's where I'm at. I have a hard time. They want to get above their average, which is right now at 39 points. There could be a chance they slightly overlook Georgia Southern a little bit, and maybe they do something on offense they didn't expect, or they get spotted some points, or they turn the ball over and it results in a defensive touchdown, something like that. Anything could happen. But again, I'm never thrilled about those big point spreads. 23.5, I'm not there. Even against Georgia Southern. Now, not saying they won't get there. They're certainly good enough to have that kind of lead in the game. I just don't know if they close it out like that. So, all right, yeah, and the over-under again is at 52.5. All right, Arkansas. I was gonna go over their FPI, but I'm gonna wait till Monday. We're gonna take a gander at Arkansas's FPI. It's gonna be interesting with some matchups that you have this weekend to see if anything changes. You've got some pretty. I mean, how bad is Nebraska really? They're 2-1. They're taking on Oklahoma. Texas A&M going up against a 2-0 New Mexico. Remember, their offense has looked terrible. I don't know anything about New Mexico, so good luck. I don't know. Top 10 Cincinnati versus a physical Indiana 1-1 team. Virginia Tech, West Virginia. Michigan State 2-0 on the road against the top 25 Miami. That's an interesting one. There was one more I was taking a look at. Of course, Alabama, Florida. That's huge. I mean, that could tell us a little bit more or nothing at all. But, I mean, again, Florida is number 11. You have Notre Dame and Purdue this weekend. What time is the Alabama-Florida game? 2:30 p.m. Okay, that's the CBS. Okay. Looking at Clemson, Georgia Tech. Clemson, who's 1-1. They're still top 8. And South Carolina against Georgia. 2-0 South Carolina. Yeah, we'll see. Auburn at Penn State. That's interesting. There's some interesting games. Virginia 2-0 against North Carolina. I mean, the list goes on. Tulane, all right. We talked about them earlier, going up against Ole Miss. See, Arizona, BYU, 2 top 25 teams. Iowa State, UNLV. UNLV's 0-1. UCLA, Fresno State might be one to keep an eye on. So some really good games this weekend. I think there's some really good games. I think that Michigan State Miami game is going to be intriguing. So Alabama and Georgia, big games. Are you talking about for Arkansas? I agree. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Pittman has stated multiple times that this is his last job. I believe him, says Eric Fountain. Boy, some of you guys get a little touchy. I assume that's the case. I agree. I mean, I think he ends up staying here, but he's not. Listen, I think he is an honorable guy. I do. I think Sam Pittman says what he means and means what he says. But you remember, and maybe there was a relationship thing going on between him and Brett Bielema. I don't know. But you remember Bielema talked about not putting the no clause to not sign with another SEC school in his contract because, Pittman had sold him on the fact that, no, I'm not going anywhere, gave him a really good deal on his contract, but they didn't sign him to a no-compete clause. That's what it was. And then Pittman left the next year for Georgia. So I'm just saying, I do think he's an honorable – I think he's a good guy. I think he does love it here. I'm just saying never say never. I don't live in the world of absolutes and certainty. I don't live in that world. I live in the world of we've seen – look, and you can't blame a guy for taking a bigger, better job. USC is a place where if you get everything put together, you could win national championships there, right? And they're going to pay you better. Think about Arkansas's contract right now with him. He's we're not talking about him being one of the top competitive guys in terms of his contract versus some of the other head coaches. So and they can extend him. They can do that, and hopefully, look, Hunter Yurachek, that's who I have faith in. It's Hunter Yurachek to keep Sam Pittman here, and I do believe Sam does love it here. And I would, if you ask me to bet, does Sam Pittman either get terminated here or retire here? There's a difference. I would lean heavily towards yes. I think we would either have to show him the door or he would have to retire. I agree. I would put my money on that. But I'm saying never say never is all I'm saying. Whoa. Austin Hurley says 11-1. Whoa. Pittman gets more pay the more he wins. He does. But his initial contract, though, leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah, it's 250. Yeah, I think that's right. It's beyond 6 wins, then it gets bumped up. Tulane might take Ole Miss. I'm telling you, that Tulane game is going to be interesting. Bielema tossed players under the bus. Pittman wouldn't stand for it and left. Right, but again, he had told Sam Pittman had told Brett Bielema that he had no plans on leaving. Like, there's no reason to put a no. Again, go back to the no compete clause in the contracts that he gave, and Bielema talked about that. Like, I did not expect Sam to leave, and he did. I'm just saying, never say never, guys. That's all I'm saying. Some of you get a little defensive over that. 10-2 in playoff discussion. Maybe. If we had an expanded playoff, I would say for sure. What are your thoughts in all caps? Judah wants to know my opinion on Kendall. I mean, that Texas game was the best game he's called all his entire career. It really was. I'm not a big fan of the third down play call. Some of the third down play calling, I think it gets a little predictable on third down and first downs, especially in the opening quarter. And I don't know, again, if that's scripted. Some offenses that come out in a scripted offense, I don't know if that's what it is. But overall, that Texas game was phenomenal. I mean, I thought, well, phenomenal is a bit much. Really well called game by Kendall. I want to see more of that. Oh boy. Okay. Bloodline is on the Sam Pittman. Look, I'm not saying Sam Pittman's leaving, people. I'm not saying he's leaving, please. Brett also liked to party on Dixon and get drunk in public, and Sam didn't like that at all. Okay, fair enough. But he was here for a couple of years before he left, is all I'm saying. It's not like that was news to him. We have the number one defense coordinator in the country. They have a really he's got to be considered one of the better. Odom has got to be one of the better. I think he's got the attention of everyone. He's going to be harder to keep, I think, if they continue to look like they have this season on defense and what we saw in the first half of last season. If they're able to put an entire season together on defense, I think it's going to take a lot of money. Someone's going to come around and want him as a head coach. Damn it, I missed most of it. John Kuhn says, what's he supposed to say? I'm out of here if I get a better offer, and you know how Brett was. He'd say passive-aggressive things. I believe he was just butthurt. It might have been. I don't know. I don't know. To me, that was just – it was bizarre because we had kind of been led to believe that Pittman was here for the long haul, and he left. And look, again, I don't blame anybody for leaving. And some of that probably was Brett. That was Brett to the media and Brett to the public. Like, hey, no, we feel good about Pittman when maybe there was more going on behind the scenes than we know. Maybe there's something, again, the partying. I think some of that is exaggerated about Bielema's drinking. I heard the story about him drinking with a recruit and getting drunk in front of a recruit and his mom. Believe me, I've talked to multiple media members who said that is the most fabricated bullshit lie they've ever heard. Did he have a beer maybe with, at a restaurant with a family, with a recruit's family? Probably. But him getting face down drunk, and that stuff, I think that's exaggerated. He did go to Dixon, and I know that for a fact. I know actually exactly where he used to go. The little club right there off Dixon Street. He did frequent, and I think he did like to have an occasional beer or two. But I don't think he was this fall down slop drunk that everyone makes him out to be. Did he let go of the rope towards the end at Arkansas? Sure. I think a lot of people, they conflate the idea that, he's this fall down drunk and he was bad at his job and so that's why Pittman left. No, I think it was just, I think Bielema, had his own thing going on, and maybe he promised something to Pittman that he didn't give him. I don't know. Maybe Pittman didn't like his contract. Maybe there was something going on there that we don't know. Who knows? Brett had to have been a heavyweight. He's a big dude. I do know one individual who did see him drinking at a bar. He was there with the strength conditioning coach at the time and another assistant, and I think maybe even it was him and an assistant and a strength conditioning. They said they saw him drinking some beers, but he didn't seem drunk. By the way, I don't hate Brett, says Bloodline. Okay, fair enough. I don't even hate Chad Morris. I don't hate people who fail at their jobs. I've had jobs I was bad at, had no business being there, shouldn't have been there, and I left, I left one job and I had no business being there. It happens. I don't hate these guys. They failed. Some people take it so personal. I don't understand it. Like, look, he failed. Chad Morris was a klutz. He had no business being a head coach here. Move on, right? Now we're on to the next guy. And hopefully he does a better job. I was sad to see him go. What about KJ Jefferson? He played good last game. Yeah, he did. He's going to get tested. I think This is going to be a game where, you know what I said about the pass rush last week? I said they have an opportunity here against Texas because their pass blocking was not very good against Louisiana. And I heard that, you know, just doing a little research, fans were not thrilled about their offensive line even coming into the season. And look what happened. Arkansas was able to control the line of scrimmage. I think the same thing this week with KJ versus that secondary. I think there should be an opportunity there. They have a couple of guys that are potential studs in the secondary, but KJ, I think, is good enough. These receivers are good enough. They should be able to open this up and rack up some passing yards. I mean, he's not had a 300-yard game yet as the starting quarterback. Maybe this is the game that he does it, and they warm up a little bit more to the passing game. And maybe this is an opportunity for Kendall to kind of, you know, to maybe open the playbook up a little more in the passing game and make him feel a little bit better. Maybe we see some vertical routes this week. I feel like, look, they're gonna do what they've done. They're gonna try and run the football. That's what this team is. It's a power run offense. You know what? I've got to go pick up my kids. I just realized it's 2:40. But I do appreciate you guys again. I know I've carried on there. Hayden Henry is really good on D. He is. All right. Yeah, I will see you guys. Saturday postgame show is on. I will be there. I hope to see you there. And yeah, you guys have a good rest of your week. Remember, no show tomorrow. This was that show. This is the Friday 11 a.m. show. So I will see you guys on the Saturday postgame show. Again, what did I say? 40. I had it typed out. 40 to 20 something. 40 to 24. So I don't like, again, don't take my advice. If you're gambling, do your own research. I'm just telling you, I don't like that spread. That's why I've got them 40 to 24. All right. I will see you guys on the postgame show. If not the postgame show, I'll see you on Monday, but that postgame show is going to be lit. So, Woo Pig, go Hogs. I'll see you then.